Hello again. I am still Teacher Oakley, and welcome to Verbling. In this class, we are going to continue our little marathon of practicing the IELTS speaking test. This would be the second class, and we are going to look at the Part 2 question, aka also known as the long turn. This is a description question. You may be describing a person, a place, seldomly an object, once in a while. Very often it is you're describing an experience. Okay, first the format. The format of this question, the interviewer will hand you a card or paper or something with the question on it. The question will be, tell me about or please describe, always, blah, 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 and then it will give you bullet points of different points that you can cover during your response. The interviewer will explain to you that you have 1 minute to make notes. He'll give you paper and a pencil. So you guys who are in class, go ahead and grab a paper and a pencil so you can practice. He will tell you that you have 1 minute to prepare for the question, and then you need to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. When he tells you that you need to speak for 1 to 2 minutes, that's really a lie. That's another IELTS trick. Frankly, if you speak for 1 minute, you're going to lose a lot of points. Speak until he stops you. That's it. Don't try to hit the time exactly. Just make him stop you. There is no penalty for going overtime. He'll just stop you. Generally, then they ask kind of a follow-up question, maybe a bridging question to get to part 3. That bridging question is usually something extremely simple. Don't even worry about that. It's nothing. The focus is on the long turn, your 2-minute response. During your response, he is not allowed, he or she, the interviewer, is really not allowed to, they're certainly not allowed to speak. They're not even supposed to do anything. They're supposed to sit there like a stone and just let you go for 2 minutes. They will frequently, however, in my experience, they will frequently give you head nods or maybe a little come on, nonverbal commands to help you out. So don't turn your head up to the ceiling and just talk. Still look at the interviewer, because he can actually help you out. And actually, the fact that you're looking at the interviewer throughout the whole exam, not just this part, is actually kind of important. You have to show him that you're talking to him. If you do this, by the way, it's a totally different point, but if you're like me and you use your hands when you talk, you gesticulate, then do that in the exam. Absolutely, whatever makes you feel comfortable. I move around a lot and I move my hands, absolutely you should do that in the exam. Just be comfortable, whatever you normally do when you're talking. Okay, that is basically that. Now, I will make a suggestion. You will notice in the question, and then in the, well, let me show you actually. Why talk? Let me show you. Let me quickly welcome students to the class, and then I'll show you a question, and we'll work off that, and we'll start practicing. Okay, Wellington, you were first in. Hi, Wellington. Welcome back. Cal, hello again. Welcome back. Claudia, hello. Claudia, are you connected? Can't hear you. You may have to go and come back. Okay? Because I definitely need to be able to hear you, because we are going to be practicing. Okay, Demas. Hey, hi, Demas. Hi, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Great. Good to see you again.
Me too.
Okay. Thomas, welcome back. Hello, hello.
Yeah, thank you, teacher.
Yep, loud and
Hello.
clear. We're good. Excellent. Elisa, hello, hello.
Hello again.
All right, you're connected. You're good. Um, and Gustavo's back. Hello, Gustavo.
Hello.
Loud and clear. Very good. Excellent. Um, again, Claudia, Cow, I'm not able to hear you. So you're test, test, test. You may have to go leave the class and then re-enter the class. Usually that works. I know that it's not your settings or any other problem, your microphone, because it worked last time. So hopefully she'll come right back. All right. Wellington.
Yes.
Let's start. I'm going to do a screen share of a typical question. So Wellington, I'm going to make some comments about this particular question. But while I'm doing that, I want you to make notes. As soon as you can see the question, you can start preparing your answer, all right? Normally, you're given a minute to prepare, so I'm going to give you that minute while I make a couple comments. Two things to note in the Part 2 question. Again, we are always trying, you always have to think about, yes, you have to remain on topic, but that about ends it as far as your content. The key is what they're looking for here. For example, here is what I would do. Describe a memorable journey you have made. Whoa, have made. Perfect tense, present perfect tense. Okay, there's going to be bullet points where you were going. Past continuous tense. How you were traveling, past continuous tense. Why you were making the journey, past continuous. Explain what made the journey so memorable, past tense. One thing I may recommend is in your notes as you're preparing, you might want to put at the top of your notes what verb tenses you're supposed to be speaking in. So when you glance down at your notes and you're speaking, you'll be constantly reminded. So I might, for example, in my notes, write past, past cont, just, notes, past continuous, and perfect. So they really want you to use all these tenses in your answer. That's really what they're asking you to do, besides talk about a journey. Secondly, something important to note, the last line, which is always and one more thing, is usually very normally really important because it frequently will ask you perhaps a would question, perhaps it will ask you to describe abstract your feelings. Okay, they're looking for abstract adjectives. There's usually some element of the last portion which is important and actually should be, you have to make sure you get to. Frequently, students will spend so much time in the first part, they never get to the last part, which is actually the most important part. Another IELTS devious trick. Okay, IELTS is always trying to trick you into making mistakes. This is another one. This is one. You should really, sure, mention these other things, but take half the time working on that and another entire minute working on this last one that, generally speaking, is the most important element, has the most important things they're looking for. Okay, third point, and when you're making notes, you may want to do this frequently. Almost always there is, in the base question, there is an adjective and a keyword. When you're making notes, I might suggest that's a good place to start. Think of related or synonymous adjectives, so you don't use the same word. Think of as many synonyms to the keyword, so you're not saying journey, 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 journey. All right, so you're able to say trip, a vacation, jaunt, a jaunt, an expedition, an excursion. All right, you have different words that you can say, because clearly you're going to have to repeat this keyword probably several times during your discourse. So those are things that you can think about when you're making notes. Last point I'm going to make before we get to practice, practice, practice. Last point to make: the answer may not be the answer. This goes for this question, this goes for all the questions on the exam. The answer is not what is true, necessarily. The answer is what you can talk about the easiest. That is the answer. In our next section, next class, part 3, opinion question, you may talk about something you don't really believe to be true. However, it's easy for you to talk about. So, a memorable journey may not be your most memorable journey. You may talk about a place that you know very, very well. Maybe a place that your family went to as a child, and you've been there 20 different times, so you know a lot about it. Maybe you went on a very far away from home one time, but okay, you only went once. You don't really know the words associated with it, but your family went on vacation 20 times to another place, in which case you should be talking about the place you went 20 times. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be true. Remember that. You can lie, and frankly, a lot of times, a lot of cases, you should lie. Sometimes, maybe the experience did not happen to you, or the question does not really relate to you. Who cares? In that case, think about the commonalities, what people think of when they think of something, what other people do or think. It doesn't have to be, you don't need to personalize this exam, in other words, and you should not. The idea is to speak. It's not really about you. It's about your speaking. Okay, Wellington.
Okay.
I've given you plenty of time, so all right. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. One of my most memorable journey was when I went to United States, specifically New York City. This travel was like realize come true a dream, because all my life I saw New York through the TV and go there, stay there, and see the Empire State, see the Statue of Liberty, and was very, very good to be in the middle of Times, Times Square, in middle of a lot of people, different people from the most places of the world, Chinese, French, Spanish, Mexicans, Indians, was very good, very memorable. And we go there, we went there by plane, and the journey, the travel, I think it took about 90 hours, and the trip was good. So the city, New York City, is very good. It's musical. We went to Broadway concerts, and I talked a lot with the people. When I went to laundry my clothes, I also talk with the workers, and I bring until now good memories from this trip. And
Okay. That will do it. Thank you very much. Okay,
okay,
you got your 2 minutes. All right. Good job hitting the 2 minutes. Okay. Critique time. Okay, try to avoid using the same words uh,
yes,
as in the question. Let me give you
girl.
guys. Let me give you an example. A good. Um, Here is pretty. Uh, Pretty much. Here's an idea of how to answer the question two. That basically foolproof will work every time. I would like to tell you about, or I would like to talk about. Okay, and then whatever you're talking about. This will work if you're talking about a person, a place, an object, an experience. It doesn't matter. If you know exactly how you're going to start, this will help you a lot. A common mistake is for people, they're not ready after the minute, so they have this 5-10 second pause before they stop speaking. They start speaking, rather. They're going to lose points. So if you know exactly how you're going to begin your presentation, that really helps. You don't have to follow my advice, but you definitely should know exactly how you're going to start speaking. I would like to tell you about, now here's another trick. Almost every time this will work. I would like to tell you about the most, pick another adjective, exciting trip, okay, vacation, whatever. Choose your own words. I have ever been on. Okay, just as an example, now, the idea here is I'm using a superlative, most exciting. I am also using have been. I'm using my present perfect tense. The question demands. I'm getting it out of the way in my first sentence. And I can plan on getting it out of the way in my first sentence so I don't have to think about it anymore. I'm using an adverb, have ever been on. I'm using a modal, I would like to tell you. I'm using to tell. I'm using an infinitive verb construction. Wow, we. You know what? This sentence here knocks off about half a dozen check marks that you have to do at some point in the exam. This is a killer sentence for IELTS. You're basically taking care of a lot of things. You're paraphrasing the question. You're doing so many things that is required for the exam to get a good score. All right?
Okay.
So, that one, that is something I would recommend. Okay, specifically, I like that. That's good. Specifically, my trip to New York. I wanted to go there all my life. All my life. These phrases and co-located words, very good. These are going to rack up your score. Okay, that was good, Wellington. Now, he said it was a come true a dream. The real phrase is a dream come true.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Okay, so here we go. Here's it. This is pretty much a standard, a colloquial expression. This is very good. This goes into the category of idioms and colloquialisms. Really good. He said it wrong, but again, if he didn't say it, a 5. If he said it wrong, he gets a 6. If he gets it right, he gets a 7. This is the way IELTS works. You have to understand this. They reward
Okay.
you for trying, okay? This is really, really key. So, okay, great. I saw to the TV, should be I saw on TV, not to TV. Self-correction, he said we go, and then he backed up and said we went. Well, okay, you know what? If you make a self-correction and you correct correctly, which you did. You changed it to past tense. Okay, that's not a big deal. No worries. Okay, you went to concertees, concerts, not concertees, a little pronunciation. Okay, you miss one or two words in pronunciation, but it is not like, for example, you always miss th. If you miss one or two words, that is really not a big deal. So don't focus on your pronunciation or worry about accent problems. It's really relatively unimportant. Okay. Overall, you did some things right. You spoke at length. You basically covered all the points. Definitely some topic related things. The sentences were good in as far as being complicated. One thing you kind of missed, I think, was, for example, the continuous, the past continuous verb tense. I'm not sure. I might have missed it. I'm not sure if you had a perfect tense in there, but these are very important that you hit all the verb tenses they asked for.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had simple past.
Yeah, I didn't do perfect tense.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I didn't do. Yeah.
Yeah, right. This response was about a 6. Okay, somewhere in 6 land, maybe 6.5. Okay.
Okay.
All right, I got to give some others a chance here. So, Cal, are you back? Claudia? Testing.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Very good.
Okay.
Here's your question. All right. You will be able to, by the way, describe a school which you went to, when you went there, how many people studied there, how long you spent there, explain why you liked and disliked about it. Okay, this question, Cal, go ahead, start making your notes. I'm going to make a couple comments, give you your minute, and then we'll get started. My comments are, this happens. You get all past tense, you may notice. So, okay, so it's basically, you make your notes, you ignore me, Cal. I'm talking to everybody else. You have to use past tense, is what this means, but that doesn't mean you can only use past tense. You should attempt to use other verb tenses if you possibly can. One very good strategy in part 2. Part 2, you're describing something, you should try, it's a lot easier if you are able to tell a story. Okay, if you're able to tell a story, maybe illustrating what you like or dislike about it, that would be very, very, very helpful, because it's really easy to talk when you're telling a story. The words come naturally. You know what happened in this story, a story about you, and you know, it's just so much easier to talk about specific things that happen to you than it is to talk about generalities. And the fact is, IELTS wants you to talk about specific things about you. They don't want you to talk in generalities, and it's easier. So why not do it? Okay. That's about all I need to say. So, Cal, when you are ready, please begin.
I went in this high school at 2005, so have 10 years. I'm graduating in this high school, and my school had a lot of students think in my year have 9 classes, I think, per day. And I spent in this school, that school, sorry, 1 year, because I lived in many cities in the country, and I moved a lot, many times. My last school, I like it because I have many friends there, and I like the people, the teachers, and the, I don't know the word, method, I think that.
Okay, and all right, you're a little under time. Yeah, a little slow to start. Okay, here you go, Cal. First of all, number one, you need, just like in the writing part of the exam, when you start writing a paragraph, you need a topic sentence. You need an introductory sentence. Same thing here. And actually, when we look at part 3 questions, same thing. You need to paraphrase the question and give a topic sentence. Before you start giving your reasons or examples or points, give a sentence to introduce what you're going to say. Again, I suggested I would like to tell you about the school where I went to high school. I'd like to tell you about where I went to high school. Fine. If I really wanted to jazz it up, I would like to tell you about the most disturbing and retarded school that you have ever heard of. Okay, do something to jazz it up and give superlative, and now I'm using a perfect tense. Okay, what I said before. You've got to introduce it, though, absolutely. Okay, another thing. All right, Cal, in my year, I don't know, in my year have many students. Okay, in my grade, there were many students. All right.
Okay.
Have should have been, you got to, again, past tense, looking for those past tenses, you use present tense. And then the same thing later, a confusing sentence with something about you live in the country. Didn't quite get that. Pronunciation of moved, okay, which was past tense, but then you mispronounced it. Not moved, but moved, because we moved.
Okay.
All right. Whatever you do, do not say, I don't know the word, or how do you say, or what's the word, or how do you say in English. Don't say that at any point during the IELTS exam. Do not say that. That way you automatically lose points. Even worse, actually, don't use your native language or any other foreign language during the exam. This is a very important point. That really hurts your score. That's heavy penalties for doing that. Now, on the other hand, let me say regarding that, if, for example, okay, there's a movie, and the movie name is in French. Okay, I went to a movie, and the movie's name was Au revoir. This means goodbye in English. Okay, it's okay for me to use a title or a name. Obviously, if you're speaking about a person's name I really admire, and obviously they have a foreign-sounding name. Who cares? That's their name. So don't worry about that. Names of things are okay. If you can translate, like a title, like in my example, then you should translate it. If you can't, it's okay if it's a title. But otherwise, do not use another language. One opportunity missed here. This is an opportunity, this last part. What you liked and disliked. On one hand, I really liked ba-da-da-da-da, for example, blah, 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 blah. However, on the other hand, I really hated, okay? This is an opportunity to make a comparative statement, to compare things and to contrast them. I like this, but I didn't like that. Okay, you definitely should have used that opportunity. That's why it's there. That's the other thing I didn't mention before, but if you see something like this, they don't care what you liked or disliked. What they care about is, do you know how to use phrases like on one hand and then on the other hand, however, or use at least but to connect two ideas. That's really what they're asking you to do. Okay. All right, next. Who's up next? Okay, that would be Demas is not here. Let me quickly welcome. I'm not sure. I'm sorry you just joined the class. Your name is in acrylic. What is your name? I'm trying to figure it out. I cannot. Hello, Russian student. Hi. What's your name, please?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Do you hear me?
It's a little low, but yes, I can hear you. What is your name?
My name is Andrei.
Andre?
Yes, my name is Andrei. I'm from Ukraine.
Okay. Welcome to the class, Andre. Sit tight, and hopefully we can get to you before the class is over. My next victim is Thomas. Here we go. Thomas, here's your question. Start making notes now. Okay. And I will try to make some comments to the other students while you're doing that. Ignore me, shut me out as best you can. Okay. Experiences are a very common type of question in part 2. Okay. This is very common. So here it's very easy to tell a story. If you are talking about, the question is clearly about an experience, the easiest strategy here is figure out a story and just tell the story. That's it. Okay. Again, everything here is pretty much everything here is pretty much in the past tense. In any case, here I have to reiterate, it's an exciting experience. You do not have to be exciting. Just because it says that does not mean that you have to be exciting. If you are excited by watching ants play in the dirt, then that's what you should talk about, or whatever is easiest for you to talk about. Okay, and basically that's it. Thomas, are you ready?
Not exactly, teacher.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, well, that 1 minute of preparation time goes by really, really, really fast. You probably only have time to write down maybe half a dozen words, basically. That minute goes by very fast, and then the 2 minutes of speaking time takes about 2 years. Okay, Thomas, when you're ready.
Okay, should I write it first?
Start whenever you're ready. Start speaking.
Okay, I'm ready right now. I don't have an experience right now. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I can talk about an experience. It was more or less 1 year ago. It happened in Monterrey City. It is in the north of Mexico country, and I was with one of my friends. We went out at night, and we went to a club to take some drinks. We went together. We didn't know that place. In fact, it was the first time that we went to that place. We stood there more or less at 12 p.m. at night. It was a beautiful experience because we took some drinks from that. Uh, it was beer, Mexican beer that it was made from in um, a special manner. It was an industrial manner. It was made by the people from that place. Um, it was a beautiful experience because we had a good time, um, and I think that that's all that I can say.
Okay. Little bit under time. Okay. Obviously. Okay. Wow. Okay. Obviously, don't start off by saying, "Oh, I can't think of anything to say." So you're going to want to don't do that. You said that, and then you started off properly after you said that. Then you said, "Okay, I'd like to tell you about an experience." Great. So make sure you don't ever say, "Oh, I don't know what to say." Okay. So okay, Thomas. Okay. In fact, that's good. Small problems. I took some drinks. Should be I had some drinks, unless you actually stole them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Made from a special manner should be made in a special manner, or really, we usually say made in a special way. You could use better words. It's handcrafted or homemade. It was great. It was homemade beer or handcrafted beer, something like that.
Oh,
Would
yeah,
be
that's right.
would be better, of course. Okay, a little bit hesitant. You sounded hesitant. This was causing problems with your fluency. It was causing some pauses. Okay, I think, it sounded to me as if you weren't sure if this was exciting enough. And so you were hesitant about your delivery. Don't worry about it. You don't have to impress anyone. Again, it really doesn't matter. The idea is not to impress them. Well, it is. The idea is to impress them with the wide variety of English constructions that you can make, but the actual content, who cares? Honestly, it doesn't matter. There's really no difference in scoring between a really, really boring answer and a really, really riveting and exciting answer. As far as scoring is concerned, it doesn't matter. In fact, if you give a really boring, normal answer and you do it better than other applicants, you're kind of likely to score better, actually, because they have something to compare it with. So actually, if anything, it may help you to be boring. So don't worry about don't worry about the content that much. Okay, being short on the answer, I don't know, 20 seconds coming up short, that's going to cost you. That's going to cost you a lot. It's going to cost you a couple band scores. You're going to drop. Wasn't really enough there. Too much pausing. That was probably, Thomas, maybe a 5, 5.5. There's nothing, no idiomatic language. You used the past tense, but I didn't hear any other verb tense. So you just really didn't take chances, and it showed. And that means you're not going to score above a 5. Okay? So there you go. Elisa. Ooh, a hard one.
Yes.
Okay. Challenging. This one's a little challenging. Okay, so go ahead, start making your notes, start preparing. All right, your task, whether you choose to accept it or not. Describe a newspaper or magazine that you like to read. What kind of newspaper or magazine it is. Okay, here we have, okay, you enjoy present tense. It is present tense. How often you buy it. Present tense. Okay. Why do you enjoy reading it? Okay, it's all present tense. So, it will happen actually in any part of the exam, 1, 2, 3, you may get a topic which totally does not relate to you at all. Well, in which case, I might highly suggest that you lie. Perhaps Elisa does not read a magazine in any kind of regular way, or a newspaper. In which case, the correct answer is to talk about something which you know better than other things, regardless. I don't know, maybe you don't ever look at a newspaper or magazine, but you watch National Geographic television show. Well, in that case, that's what you know best. Go with that. Talk about National Geographic. One other point before I let her go, before I let her start. And sometimes this does happen, sometimes this beginning question is kind of vague. For example, here it says newspaper or magazine. You may not be sure if they mean physical, hard copy, or is it okay to talk about online? If that's the case, ask. And ask immediately before they start timing you, when he's still describing what's going on. Is it okay? And actually, this really, really helps. Would it be okay if I talked about an online magazine? 9 times out of 10, really 99 times out of 100, if you ask a question to clarify what you can talk about, the interviewer will say, yeah, sure, go ahead. His job is to encourage you to speak. If he does not get you to speak, there's nothing to score, and he makes everybody's job harder, including his own. So he's basically going to be very encouraging about anything you want to talk about. I have had students in the past who were asked to talk about extreme weather. And they said, you know, I really have no experience with extreme weather. Can I talk about an earthquake that I was in? And the interviewer said, yeah, sure, go ahead. Not a problem. It really is extreme weather, earthquakes, these are two different things. All right? Don't be afraid to clarify the information. You cannot get points off for asking a question. That's important to note. If you do not understand the question, of course, you cannot answer it properly or use topic-related vocabulary, or you're really going to mess it up. So ask. Make sure you understand the questions. You do not lose points for asking a question. So don't be shy to do that. Elisa,
Okay.
are you ready to give it a try?
Okay. I would like to tell you about. I really enjoy to read about technology, but usually I don't buy physically the newspaper or magazine. I only read with my subscribe on Facebook. I read about technology. Actually, the topic I read is like a software, like news, and development I can use when I program. Something I read about new gadgets for phones, for technology they can use for in this moment the world is around the technology. They need improve every day with a new knowledge about what we can use in the future. And for the reason I like to read for stay actually upgrade with the information they can maybe help me in the future.
Okay, get a little under time. All right. Okay. All right. First clause was good. I would like to tell you about. Great. I would like to tell you about. This is what you said. I would like to tell you about. I really enjoy technology. Okay. That those clauses don't fit. I would like to tell you about what? A type of magazine I enjoy. I would like to tell you about. It has to be something. I would like to tell you about the type of magazine which I really enjoy. See, you need an object noun. I would like to tell you about. You have to say something. I would like to tell you about dogs. I would like to tell you about an experience. I would like to tell you about my country. You need to say something. And you can join it, and that would be actually great, which I really enjoy, which I really like a lot. Again, try to remember to change the words. When you're making notes, again, one thing I would make notes on, I would think about newspaper, magazine. Oh, I can call those periodicals. Okay, I can change the words by saying online magazine. I add something to it. Instead of enjoy, I really like, I'm keen on, my favorite. Again, try to think of different words that you can use.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sure. And it would be great, use which or that. This is something which I blah, blah, blah. There's something that I blah, blah, blah. These are relative clauses. These are great because you create complex sentences. Super. You definitely need to do it at some point in the test. This is something they're going to be looking for, listening for. Okay. I do like and I highly encourage use of adverbs like Elisa did with actually, honestly, fortunately, eventually, using these kinds of words to start sentences. Absolutely. You should do it. Okay, another thing, Elisa, you said the world is around tech. Well, okay. The way we say that, by the way, the world revolves around technology.
Okay.
The world revolves around. Okay, not the world is around. The world revolves around technology. Technology is very important these days. All right, like that. Also, knowledge, Elisa. I like new knowledge. Knowledge is uncountable, so you can't say a knowledge.
Okay.
Some knowledge. I like to gain knowledge. You don't need an adjective. Actually, you don't really need an article. I was always trying to gain knowledge in my field. Okay. Now, a little bit related here. Well, Elise, again, the focus is supposed to be on the newspaper or magazine. You talked about a type of magazine, okay, which is here, but remember the focus is on this one. These are just additional sidebars. Really, keep this in mind that the focus of your answer is going to be on the first piece of information they give you. All right, you kind of focused on this instead, which may make you a little bit off topic. And you didn't really say, you know, what articles and information. Well, information, kind of. You did describe why you enjoyed it. All right. When you see these why you enjoy it things, okay, this is okay, well, look at that. All right, Wellington, I couldn't read all that, and the seconds had flashed on the screen, but I think you had the right idea. Yeah. Okay, in this last thing that really, this is talking about abstract adjectives that you would use. All right. I find it stimulating. I find that it really boosts my knowledge base in these fields, and I'm always trying to improve my abilities and skills when it comes to technology. I find it very rewarding. Okay, using adjectives that are related, abstract adjectives, related, but okay. Anyway, that's the idea. Maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe, just maybe, we have time for one more quick one. Wellington, we've only got a couple minutes. Can you throw this together quickly?
I also read. I also write, but
Right.
let's go.
Oh, you want to try this one? Okay, since you're prepared for this one,
Yeah.
why don't you do this one? Okay, that's a better idea, Wellington. I'm sorry. That's a good idea. Since you already prepared for this one, why don't you try it? All right?
Okay. I would like to tell you about the comics that I read for all my life. And I read about 3 or 4 comics. These comics are about heroes. These heroes, they are from DC Comics and Marvel, and these heroes are American. So for me, it's a pleasure read these comics because like I said, I read it all my life, but in Portuguese. Now I'm try read them in English, and for me it's a challenge, and because there are a lot of phrases, phrasal verbs, different words, and I am learning in each square a new word, and and also is a pleasure. Is a way for I do this in my spare time, and when I go to lunch. So is this? I think, yeah.
You're done. I think your time is up. Okay. All right. I read for all my life. Perfect. Okay, if you've done something all your life up until now, this is where you need to use present perfect tense. I'd like to tell you about some cartoon comics which I have read for all my life. I have read up to now. Perfect opportunity to be using a present perfect tense. Basically, you need to show during the course of the exam, not on each question, but you need to show that you can use past, present, and future tenses. Somewhere in the exam, you have to use a passive. Somewhere in the exam, you have to use a continuous verb. Can be past, present, or perfect. somewhere you have to use a perfect tense. It can be past, present, or future. So you want to make sure you can kind of strategize and get these out of the way at some point.
Okay.
You do not have to use every single verb tense in the English language. That would be virtually impossible. However, you have to give examples of basically the categories of verb tenses. Comics, not comic-y, comics.
Comics.
Okay. It's a pleasure, read them. You need an infinitive. A pleasure to read them.
To read them. Okay.
Pleasure to read. One good thing, and that reminded me of something I haven't spoken of. Sometimes they will ask you a question, especially in part 1, sometimes in part 3, not really in part 2, but you gave me an example, so I want to mention it while I'm thinking of it. Sometimes they will ask you a question which you've basically already answered. This is a trick. They want to see how you handle it. Like I said before, as I previously mentioned, well, as I just said, they want to see if you can use that one of those phrases and then repeat the information in a different way, using synonyms or synonymous phrases. So be aware of that. That's another little IELTS trick. Nothing to do with what you said, but it reminded me of that, so I just thought I'd mention it.
Okay.
Okay, you mentioned each square. In a comic book, it's called a panel. Each panel, panel, yeah. Now, see, this is the kind of thing you're not going to lose points for saying each square, because that's what they are. But if you knew the word panels and talked about the panels, that would be very, very specific, unique vocabulary. You definitely score some serious points there. Also, it is a pleasure. Okay, well,
Thank you.
I just want to mention it would have been nice to say pleasurable. Here's another thing, vocabulary. Not only knowing different words or synonyms, knowing different word forms. It is a pleasure. It is pleasurable. It pleases me. If you say it 3 different ways, this also will help increase your score. This is also very good. Okay, that's once again we've gone over time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for now.
Okay, once again we're over time on the class. Got to go. Back shortly with part 3. Thanks.
Yeah.